insults because they suck.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Ryan, Whiskey and Barbecue. That's Nick from Nico's Tex-Mex Plate Sales. You met him last time we were doing something out here.
Yeah.
It's been a while. A couple times ago, yeah. All right, so Hector.
They have a
Saladana.
Yeah, Hector Saladana. All right, so whenever we do this, we're going to be cooking, for your phrase, before anybody starts talking trash about this pit, I have a 250-gallon trailered propane tank smoker. I can cook 12-ish briskets on there at a time. So tomorrow we're feeding 300 people with chicken, sausage, brisket, a couple sides. That's 23 briskets in there.
23 biscuits.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We could bring both of our pits out here. We could do fire management. We could do all this stuff all night. Or we could get a big boy toy. This is the Southern Pride SPK 500. This is one of the, obviously their mobile model, because it's got wheels on it. This is a commercial grade smoker. A lot of the big restaurants that do a lot of smoking and do a lot of stuff on big scale, they use this kind of equipment. They use something like this or an old hickory or something along those lines. So what we're going to do, we're going to give kind of a walk around of what this thing is, good stuff about it. There are a few, not really bad things, but things you have to know about if you're going to use this pit. So, all right, door time. Obviously, mobile, wheels. As you can see, propane fired. So the heat from this thing comes from burning propane. These two tanks, we figure will last about a week of solid burning, right?
Yes.
I've never even put a dent in one of these, and we've done plenty of 24-hour plus cooks on these. To get smoke, we go to the firebox. So in the firebox, and it's kind of dark, so I apologize for that, but you have your wood tray. Thing number one, you need to be aware of this thing. You can do 2 sticks at a time, and you can basically burn whatever you want. You can burn everything from post oak, mesquite, pecan, rosemary, grapevines, whatever you want to burn. As long as it's dried, you can burn in there. The thing you have to be aware of with this is do not put your wood all the way against the burner. It has a little electrode that actually lights the fire, and if you have a piece of wood against it, it'll throw off the current where it won't light. And then you're going to have a bad cooking experience because now you're dealing with a really hot piece of metal, trying to deal with embers and trying to do everything else, and you're not going to know what's going on because you're just going to say, oh, it's not lighting. Probably because you got too much wood in there, the wood too far back.
And not to mention, if you break it, it's really expensive.
It's really expensive to fix. It's one of the most expensive things to fix on it. Good thing we never broke it. Whenever you're cooking on this thing, you can touch just about anything while it's running except for 2 parts. Never touch that. That's hot. Because obviously you got a big burner back there. There's actually coal and fire and things like that in there. So, the second part you never want to touch is here. That gets, it's not going to burn you, but it's hot. Here's the inside. So,
I'll see you guys mañana.
This thing obviously works on a rotisserie. It has, I think these grates are 12 by 30. So these are 12 by 30 grates. It has 15 12 by 30 grates in here. Whenever we're cooking on briskets, we normally take take the center rack out because the brisket, the point is kind of tall and we can't fit them in very well. We have contact and we have the ability to take them out because we don't load it up that much. Because this is a mobile model, here's another thing you need to be aware of with these. These clips, we'll take one off. So these metal clips actually hold all the racks in while it's going down the road. If you forget to put the clips in, or you don't get the clips in right, whenever you get where you're going, if you've already cooked, you're going to be fishing shelves and fishing racks out of 4 to 5 inches of grease in the bottom of this thing. Isn't that right?
Yeah. It's happened before.
It has. Damn. So now that we got it set up in this configuration, We can put 2 briskets on bottom, 2 briskets on top, 4 briskets per arm. We can fit 20 briskets in here easily. Some of the briskets that we're going to be using are relatively small, so we're going to scrunch them down a little bit. We'll make it all work.
You want to talk about your little temps here?
Yep, we're going to get to all that in a second. So, whenever you're setting this thing up, actual setup, there's a couple things you need to be aware of. One, it needs to be level front and back. So a couple ways to look at that. Because these things rock, you can take a beer, and from the side, you can hold the beer against it and make sure that the space between the beer and the rack is the same all the way up and down.
There's also a leveler on the front, so if you really don't want to have to take your beer and do all that.
It's less entertaining. Also, the way that Hector did it, he has a notebook that he uses, just kind of holds it against to make sure the racks are straight. We're also against the edge of the building, so you just look from the side, make sure that everything's nice and straight. Because this thing, is it belt or chain? I can't remember.
What?
The drive for the rotisserie, is it belt or chain driven?
I think it's chain.
So, because it is a rotisserie, the motor that's in there, if you have it tilted too far back or too far forward, it puts too much pressure, not too much pressure, it puts excess pressure on the motor. So the best thing to do is just keep it nice and level, keep everything nice and balanced. Now, Nick probably wants me to help him take these clips out instead of talking so much. The thing to keep in mind whenever you're loading this, because it is a rotisserie, you want to make sure that you load everything evenly. So one of the things that we'll do is whenever we start loading, we'll do a bottom rack, no, rotate the next arm, we'll fill the bottom rack, rotate the next arm, fill the bottom rack. So we keep everything nice and balanced as you go. If you have 4 briskets sitting on one arm and nothing anywhere else, again, it'll put a little bit excess pressure on the motor itself and the chain and everything else, and that's no way out. Get off of there. So basically what you're watching us do right now is get this thing actually set up. So we parked it. It plugs into 110 power. We've got it plugged in. We checked all of our, we did a test to make sure everything was good, everything was swinging freely. The other thing to be aware of is you can see where the racks sit on these pins and on these collars. This one slid all the way down to the side. This one slid over to that side because we are sitting at a little bit of an angle, so it slid over. It's not too bad of an angle. It's not a big deal. All right, so now you see we have all 5 arms only have 2 racks piece on them now. We got plenty of room for brisket. Hey, light! We got plenty of room for everything else. Now, you can turn it on and start making some heat and some smoke. This is an extremely complicated machine to get it going. First thing you do, plug it in. Second thing you do, turn on the switch. Close the doors to make the temperature gauge work. On the right hand side, you have a control panel. We're going to set ours at, we'll do 230. We're going to run this brisket to 230 degrees today. Heard the burner light. You can hear the rotisserie on the inside going. Everything sounds right. These numbers will switch back and forth. I don't know if Aiden can get it from that distance away. But it has the current temperature in the pit, and then in a second it'll switch to the set temperature of the pit.
You can get a shot of this if you want. That's the igniter towards the back. Of course you can see that, and then of course you got the flame one and the little stick burner. But that's it. And it's already producing smoke?
Yep. And pit's now ready to go. It's that easy. So these Southern Prides, they come in sizes smaller than this one, and they come in sizes that are, I think there's a couple, 2 sizes bigger than this one, right? So yeah, they get bigger, they get smaller. They're great. They really are great. Aiden, you have a problem? I think Aiden's arms are getting tired. This is getting entertaining.
Hands falling asleep.
All right. So till next time, burn and learn, y'all. Cheers.